What is up? Welcome back to the SuperCoach Experience podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Savage, the coach of the Xavier Turbos. The final big buy round is done and dusted. We are here for the run home. Joining me, the 2021 champion. No better person to have on a week like this, Tim Moody. How are you going, Timmy?
Going well, man. Yeah, there's still a little bit of buy lingering around with this last mini buy. It's pretty heavily sort of factored in with a lot of us having players in the sides that are on the buy. Manly, Raiders.
Manly, Rabbitohs, Raiders. It's pretty Supercoach relevant. Kalamatangi among the popular options. Joe Tarpanay, the likes of Lehigh Hopewade, Ruben Garrick. There are a lot of really good Supercoach players out there who are on the buy this week. So it is a tricky week. It is a week to move, but it's also a week to kind of assess what your side is going to look like for the run home.
It's getting pretty close to final teams, especially for us with fewer trades than others. You know what I mean?
How many trades do you have left?
9 before trades.
I think I have 7 before trades, which is it's very scary because I'm going to have to miss out on one of these guys I've been talking about getting in for the run home. And we will chat about that later in the episode, but we will get through this episode. Team lists haven't dropped yet. We're actually recording nice and early. We have an event to go to Adidas tonight, which we're very excited for. Keep up to date with our socials to see what we get out and about there. But team lists drop in 15 minutes, so we're still yet to know whether Origin players back up. I feel like we're in for a bit of carnage here.
Oh, we're not going to know whether they're named or not. We're still not going to know, probably in 15 minutes whether they're going to back up or not. It's going to have to wait till Origin and then wait to final teams.
I'm honestly hoping they're just not named if they are.
Makes things a bit easier sometimes, but then if you are desperate for numbers, then you kind of might be hoping that they'll get named just so you got a bit of a chance there.
Yeah, for me, my only Origin player is Tino. So it'll factor my trades in because I think double Origin players to come in will be the play for me. But that being said, we don't know what.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'll potentially be bringing 2 Origin players in this week as well. But yeah, it's a tough one. I guess maybe we should go over last week first, right?
We will. So round 18 for myself, 1123. I've gone up to 3,400. Captain Tom Trebojevic only took 10 weeks for it to happen. The big score from Tommy. Updated nicely while Garrick downdated nicely. So it was the best captain option for myself. Very annoying. I did say on the Sunday wrap-up the James Tedesco try late, that was the chance to move on all the Teddy captainers, but still put some points on him. Having Turbo as a pod anyway is ridiculous. He does come into a tough run, so I'm stoked to have him, but it's also a bit tricky at this point in time because he has a negative break-even and moving forward has a tricky draw, so I've got to reassess there. But for yourself, you did all right.
Yeah, I only had 13 players too, so I'm pretty happy with the way it worked out. I was feeling good about things going sort of leading into the round until players got ruled out. I think I lost Carraz, which I lost a lot, also lost. Who else we lost? I put notes of this. I lost Pappy, which was probably the biggest dagger. Just seeing how well Meany scored in that position, and Meany hasn't had any outstanding scores as an individualist in centre or anything like that, so it just shows that it was that position. It's not necessarily Meany as an individual. I mean, maybe Pappy didn't complete some of those things the same way or whatever, but you'd think he would have gone pretty thereabouts. So that one hurts. Billy Smith ruled out.
Yeah,
that was a little bit annoying because he was kind of that extra number. You never know what he would have scored in a game like that too. And then Lawson, but Lawson, Schmorson. So I lost 4 of them. So that got me down to 13, and I thought that was going to give me red arrows regardless of. I just thought there'd be other teams with enough numbers that would. Yeah, but scored 11. Tried to say 11. I wish 1,051. And that's put me into 1,712. So, I've had gradual little increases over the last couple of weeks. It's just about trying to hold on now with hopefully not too much carnage with the situation we're both in with trades.
About 170 points away from you myself. So, I think that'll be the goal for the rest of the season. Beat Timmy.
Come get it,
and then when I beat Timmy, I'll be looking for the next target, probably Maxi. Actually, Mikey's only like 40 points away from me ahead, but it just shows how well we're doing. We feel like we're having shit seasons, and it really suggests that when you panic and think you're having a shit season, you're probably making rash decisions that you probably shouldn't make early on in the season. Like, because early in the season, I thought my season was done, and I was making decisions based on, I don't care, I haven't done well this year. Like, this year's right off. 3,400, I'll take it as an end rank. I'd take it. Considering
you
how
seem
I
like a bit of a write-off a few times throughout the season. Like, it did seem like it was not going to... Well, I mean, not that you couldn't pull it back, but it just kind of did seem like maybe this isn't it for you. It might have been one of those ones that dwindled off a bit further than here. I mean, it could go either way. So we're still a bit to go.
From here, there's still a lot to go.
But looking back...
my season is like a foreskin. I could easily pull it back.
Right.
Or pretty hard in some people's cases.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't have one. So.
No comment.
And what do you call me? A helmet. I had 3 tragedy rounds, like real bad tragedy rounds. I went over my history last week and just sort of looked at that, round average and where I sat over some rounds. So there were 3 really bad ones. There was round 3 and 4, I ranked 80,000th for the round. So that was, pretty early in the picture, and that's when I was starting to get this is not a good thing. But I think at that stage we tried to sort of have that chat about, we can let it all go to smithereens or try to make the best of a bad situation and try, save face and just finish the best we can and try to set that goal of, I think it was top 1,500. You've said that was a weird number, but as a final finish. But the one other major bad one in round 11, I ranked 1,000 and 1,100. Is that a number? 1,000, 1,100th? Yeah.
Sorry?
On
100,000? 100,000?
Yeah, 111,000. I was trying to work. Yeah,
So I'm looking at my tragedy rounds, very similar. Round 1, 67,000th. Round 4, 78,000th. Round 10, 72,000th. Round 11, 89,000th. And then round 16, 62,000th.
Yeah, so I've only had 3 bad ones, but my bad ones were all worse than yours rank. I had 80, 80 and 111 K. Pretty bad, those ones. But then the rest of it, it's all been pretty consistent. There was like one really nice, I think there was 2 nice ones in there actually. I think one round I ranked 915th, another one 951st. So those 2 weeks look like the 2 peakier weeks for me, but the rest part mainly consistent. I'm just hoping to be consistent for the rest of the season. That's my goal. Nothing too wacky, nothing too out there, and just sort of keep chipping away a little bit each week if I can.
I've got 143rd for the round, a 43rd for the round, an 827th for the round, a 1,500th for the round, and a 1,600th for the round. So I've had some really good weeks, which has really clawed me back. And I feel like that kind of, it tells a tale. It kind of says, okay, your team's good enough to get a good score, but you're not really grasping onto these players that are scoring consistently enough week in, week out, or you're not choosing the right captain every week. I think there's a lot of multiple factors you can go with here. But today we're going to talk about the run home and mainly Origin players. I'm very keen to see what this team list turn out like. We're waiting for this to drop any minute. We're 8 minutes away. But let's first start with Carl McGrath. You just spoke to Carl not too long ago.
Head over to
carlmcgrathaccounting.com.au. Let them know that you're coming from our podcast. He gives you $110 for a basic tax return. If it's anything more complex, still mention the show. He'll take care of you. You just called not too long ago to talk about your tax with him. 2 minutes of tax talk, 26 minutes of SuperCoach talk. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's about the fair assessment of that. He's doing really well. He's ranked 200 and something. So you mentioned he was doing well the other week, but I didn't know how well. And he's got 14 trades up his sleeve. So right guy to be sort of chatting SuperCoach to and getting your tax done. He knows he's crunching the numbers well this year. He's on fire. So if he can translate a bit of his SuperCoach, form into your tax return. Wow.
And
sky's the limit.
And he's got 50,000 inside. He might just, let you claim that extra thing here and there.
Oh, I don't think he'll claim an extra thing here and there. Maybe,
I can't advertise him like that.
He risk his whole business and put himself in jail. But yeah, no, maybe he'll, who knows, maybe he'll take you under his wing after he's the champ, you know what I mean? And teach you a few of his secrets.
For sure. All right, let's head over to the hot topics for the week. Obviously, this is subject to change depending on team list, so we will cut through early on. But we do have a big subject to talk about. The number one traded in player this week is Connor Watson. And I think it seems like people are making the decision on Connor Watson, and I'm trying to crunch the numbers here.
Why is everyone going there a lot harder?
Yeah, like why is everyone going Connor Watson over Harry Grant? I know Harry Grant has been underwhelming this year, but I think this is one of the key decisions for the run home. Which hooker do we go with? You were stressing about it yesterday, and we had a bit of
I was not stressing about it. That's what I was trying. Yeah, look, I do stress about SuperCoach. I wasn't stressing about that situation at all. I was just discussing that, look, in our position, it might not matter either way. They might average very, very similar. That's a position. If you go Harry or if you go Connor Watson, you might look back and go, didn't really matter which one I picked. But if you're hunting for first, that's when things change because, even if they only average, a couple of points away, that's every point could be, whether it's even just that Harry beats him by a point, that could be the 1 point that you needed to come first. There's people that have lost by, one before. So that's when it can become important for those people that are right up the nitty gritty. And then who knows, it could be really important. One of them could just really
decide one of your head-to-head cashies.
Go hard. Or then they could just go a lot hard. Although they look hard to pick at the moment, they sort of look hand in hand. I think their BE's exactly the same. They're averaging kind of similar. I think Harry's averaging a little bit less than Connor. But, yeah, I mean, one of them could just go on a run of games that, go, oh, geez, I wish I went that guy. And, and it matters to everyone. So, who knows? I'm undecided at this point, and pretty happy to see how Origin plays out. In an ideal world, I'd almost want to just give it one round of NRL as well and let this week go through to the keeper and make the decision maybe next week just to see how they, just get a bit more of a look and not rush it, especially if you've got other guys you want to get in. If you want to get a Cleary in or a second rower this weekend or another centre winger or something like that, maybe you could wait. But for me, I feel like my hand's a little forced. Got Sandon Smith, who's likely to be dropped from, the halfback spot.
Well, we are 4 minutes away from there.
We'll find that out.
I think that's the first thing I'll look at before we get right into
this.
And
my second point that I want to address is, I had Egan in my side, but I sold him last week, with the foresight that I'm going to need to free up as much cash. And there's only a limited amount of positions that I can free that cash up in, so I needed to downgrade to enough there.
Who'd you end up going to?
Nice one. You did well there. So for me, I kind of feel like it's a little bit rushed for me. Like I don't want to play Sandon off the bench, or if Sanders just not in the side altogether for whatever reason, take the zero necessarily this week.
Yeah.
I'm prepared to in future if things... We'll get to that later when it gets to strategy and stuff, but... Yeah.
I think people do seem like their hand is forced because Sandon is likely not to get named because of Sam Walker.
Depends who your backup is. You could let it go through for 1 week.
Yeah, for sure. Like for myself, I can wait a week on it for sure. Yep. His break-even's not massively high. He's not going to lose heaps of cash. But for me, I think a lot of people are going Watson because he's playing off the bench, limited minute role. So I think he's more likely to play this week. And with the Roosters being more in need of someone to play rather than the Melbourne Storm, who have a suitable replacement in.
Maybe people are looking at it from that 1 week sort of, if I need him this week, then he's a lot more likely to be right to go, and I can't pick between them. So for that factor, I'll go him.
And I think that's a very valid point because people need a hooker this week.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my side. I have 17 players on the dot. Could probably go without Sandon and just hold him in there. I think that's fine. Sorry, I got 18 players on the dot. And
go without Watson and hold Sandon there.
Yeah, and I think I just want to wait a week, but I'm leaning towards Harry at the moment. So Connor Watson versus Harry Grant. Connor Watson is the highest averaging hooker, averaging 67 points. Between him and six is Wade Egan, by the way.
Yeah.
There's only 8 points in average to 59, which is ridiculous. Like, it's not a high-scoring position. It's just, is this position going to bust open at the back half of the year? I think players like Wade Egan are going to drop. Players like Harry Grant are going to rise. I think with Connor Watson, I am concerned that because Sam Walker hasn't been in the side, Sandon Smith has played that halves role. He's a very good 14 off the bench that can come and play hooker. That means Connor Watson will shift to that middle role, but that also means he's not guaranteed 80 minutes.
Oh, it could be a bit of a risk, maybe, yeah.
So I want to see how that plays out first.
Game to game. You'd think they'd want him on the field for 80 more times than not.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not like they've got a lot of depth in the forward of seniority or anything like that. They've got a lot of younger guys and stuff, so be more inclined to think he still gets 80, but it's, you got to weigh up all these things if it really, is something that you're banking on as well. Yeah. Another factor is too that, people, got the concern of, maybe do the Storm have more of a chance of being able to rest at one point? I've sort of discussed in chats that I did hear Bellamy say a couple of weeks ago that they might find other ways to rest players, which would be, through training loads throughout the week, maybe not necessarily have to be a game. So who knows? It depends on where they're sitting. They're never going to give up a top 2 spot just to risk, you know what I mean? If they need to win that game to get the top 2 spot, I think they'd be playing their guys. So unless they're locked in at any point, I can't imagine they'd rest outside of this game after Origin, obviously.
So
teams are in.
Do you want to know what's happened?
Yeah, well, I think we're all dying to know. I think everyone else probably knows.
Yeah, well, you know by
because,
now. Sam Walker's in. Sandon, number 20.
That's interesting.
So I think people rushing to make a decision this week, you don't have to now because he's not going to play. He's not going to be an A nightmare. Yeah. Which is a good thing, but it's also the Connor Watson thing I just said, that's good for him.
Yeah, well, on the not having to wait, and if Sandon is out for me, and going is my other player, and I could potentially have no hooker unless I trade, I might accept that. If I'm not locked in, for me, I might not go, I'm just going to pick one because I don't have one this week and then feel like I'm not confident that I've made the right choice yet. So I'd be more prepared to just, this week, take, a 0 in that position, have that 0 drop out in my flex and hope that I don't have, any other 2 major low scores in my side that I'd want to drop out normally instead. Just so that way I'm not rushing it. But that could be something I'll look at. Because especially with both of them coming back from Origin, maybe they play limited minutes as well. So if you're rushing it just to get that guy, maybe they only get that like 40-ish score or something, and you're like, oh, I rushed him in for that, So, yeah, I don't know. Let's definitely see how Origin goes, I guess. And if one of them kind of just looks like they're just sweet as or didn't play as much minutes.
So let's return to this and we'll react to the team list live. The Sharks play the Dolphins on Friday night, 8 p.m. The Sharks pretty much unchanged. The Dolphins, they've named Hammer at fullback, Jermaine Asako on the wing, Max Fiane plays in the centres, Jake Avarillo on the wing, Sean O'Sullivan in the halves. Kurt Donahue is named at number 13. So they have dealt with a couple of injuries with Cody Nikorima and Jack Bostock, obviously. So Supercoach-wise, not much there. I think there's a world where I thought Trey Fuller was going to come in at fullback and Hammer was going to play centre, so keep an eye out there. But this game, for me, I think the Sharks bounce back potentially and potentially win. It's at Shark Park. We're talking about the subject later, so I'll stick it. Who are we going to run with for the way home? I think Nico's a pretty good option for the run home. He's got a pretty good draw, but let's hold off
there. Double conundrums this week to make. We'll get to that in Pickles, I guess.
Newcastle play the Storm. Fletcher Hunt is named at fullback for who was fullback last time? It was Ponga, was it? Yeah,
last time.
Yeah, Ponga got injured in their last game. So Fletcher Hunt is fullback. Hastings in the halves, and they are just pretty much shot for numbers 1 to 17. Pappenhausen returns for the Melbourne Storm, which means Nick Meaney plays centre. Joe Chan is named at centre as well. On the wing, we've got Sualangi, Tuamala to Brown on the wing. Tyron Wishart starts at 5'8", which means Munster is not named. Bronson Garlick is named hooker. Cameron Munster, Harry Grant named on the extended, which I hate.
Which it's a second game, which is kind of handy because for me, I own Harry. I own Munster, and he's my only Origin. No, he's not. I've also got Lomax and Carraz. Carraz, you pretty much go, yeah, sweet. And then Lomax probably.
Yeah.
But, yeah, okay. But then if you're wanting to trade in one of those Harry or something, it's pretty early.
Yeah.
It only sucks a little bit if you're someone that wants to trade out like a McInnes or something like that, who you own or,
You should know by then because that game is on 3 p.m. Saturday, so team cuts will happen. So if Harry's on the extended, then he's every chance of playing. But I want to wait till tomorrow night, reassess everything, see how brutal the game is. Dragons play the Roosters 5:30 Saturday. Gutho at fullback, Val Holmes named to back up. Sione Finau keeps his spot on the wing. King Tonga still at number 6. Flanagan named a halfback. For the Roosters, Tedesco fullback. Toya named to return from Origin. Billy Smith named to return. Daniel Tupou on the wing. Hugo Savala at number 6 and Sam Walker at number 7. Angus Crichton named to start. We've got Connor Watson named to start also at hooker. Spencer Leniu off the bench. Fiketti starts on the edge as well with Victor Adley at number 13. We've got Sandon Smith on the extended. Their bench hooker is Zach Docker-Clay, so they've got 3 middles/edges on the bench, so there's every chance Connor Watson doesn't play 80 minutes in this game anyway. So I think the fact that you're not going to get an auto-moji for Sandon, if there's an AA that you're worried about, I get going early because, Connor Watson's going to be an option for the rest of the year. But
especially if you are confident, you're just like, yeah, that's my guy.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm a Connor guy and I'm going him, or I'm definitely going Harry. Like, if you made your mind up, you don't need to be having everyone else in the podcast or chat circles on social media who are undecided doing your head in. Just lock it in.
Yeah.
If you decided.
100% agree. Cowboys take on the Bulls.
Oh, before we move on, can I flag something in this? I just thought it's interesting that, Connor being just named and then Harry not being, lending to it being Watson being the most popular out of the two traded in. It's going to help that along more, right? But the thing is that with Harry playing before Watson, it gives people a chance to see, though. You know what I mean? Like, if Watson played first and then Harry was, I don't know, later in the week and it's still, you didn't get the information as yet, you'd be locked. You might just feel forced to lock. But, like, if you are sitting on the fence, at least you get to see, all right, Storm are running out now and Harry's named at hooker and there's no one there to really cover him off the bench or whatever. You maybe just then can make your call on that too. Yeah.
I like Connor, but I love Harry.
I love them both.
Yeah, I think Harry's got a harder draw, and the reason we usually get. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about the pros and cons and why we like and dislike or whatever. Yeah,
we'll keep the flow of team list going. Cowboys take on the Bulldogs at home, 7:35 on Saturday. Scott Drinkwater. I always say the fullbacks. I don't know why I say the fullbacks. Jackson Purdu stays at centre. Tom Dearden named to back up from Origin, the same as Jeremiah Nanai and Ruben Cotter. Reece Robson. Also for the Bulldogs, Carraz returns on the wing. Crichton named to back up. Inari Tuwala gets named on the wing.
What's up, bro?
Matt Burton and Toby Sexton in the halves. Lachlan Galvin, my new recruit for the Xavier Turbos, named at number 17. Make a fucking decision, Cameron Ciraldo. Oh, my God.
It's tough, though. Well, I think...
No, it's not tough. You bought this kid... Play him reserve grade or stop changing around the spine. It's ridiculous.
I don't know that he is changing it. He may changing his decision too much. I mean, last week, I think he just made a decision, what's the best dynamic side for this round? Like, you know what I mean? I think it was a run-round thing. Like, I'd rather have Crichton there, Burton defending in the centres, then I can chuck, because he's quite good at centre, and then I can chuck him there. But then... Yeah, for this week, I think they go back to it, especially considering it was a bit clunky. And
I actually really liked Burton at the centres. I thought it gave him a lot of dynamic within the side.
But then where do you shove Zeri or,
Well, Zeri wing. Tuala's playing wing at the moment.
Yeah, you could do that too.
But I think Matt Burton's best position is 6. You made a decision on Toby Sexton and Lockie Galvin. Just bloody go with it. It's ridiculous how they're playing this tiptoe kind of game. And I get that Lockie Galvin's probably not there ready for their system. But it's just ruining the club.
It's a little bit of a tough position that they're in. They've probably bought him going, look, he's a great purchase and we want him for the future of our club and he's available to use now. How do we use him? And they've thought, look, maybe we do just inject him, and which they've tried to sort of maybe do a little bits and points. But at the same stage, they've been playing really good footy all year without him leading up to, for the most part, they've had a bit of a hiccup over the last couple of bits, with and without him. But they've looked great without him. So they're probably just like, oh, why are we change? Like, let's just stick to the system, chuck him in. You know, the best system is probably just to chuck him in when they're winning ahead by a fair bit to just sort of see how it goes, or when they're losing by a lot just to chance their hand and stuff. So, yeah, they've also got to win this year and not just, it's tough. It's tough. I get it. Frustrating.
Yeah, it's a dumb purchase by myself. I knew this was going to happen. Shout out to number 18 for the Cowboys, Ryan Rivet. What a name.
It's like they should something to do with the frog there, like Rivet. You know, Rivet.
I used to work
at Rivet. It's Rivet, same thing.
I used to work at Aldi.
They call him Poppy, Pop Rivet.
Well, I used to work at Aldi. The beer that was like a rip-off of VB is called Rivet.
Oh, nice.
Which was like, it was like $25 for a case. Ridiculous. For the Warriors, they take on the Tigers 2 p.m. Sunday. Taintul Pickle is at fullback for the injured Chance Nickel Clockstad. Tanner Boyd takes the position at halfback, goal kicking, I assume, which is very interesting there. They've got Jackson Ford up front, Lakala Seaman, Nia Corey on the edges. Tamari Martin plays number 14. Laban dropped to the bench. Nia Corey back in the starting side. For the Tigers, Taruva is still at fullback. We've got Skelton and Staines on the wing, Dewey and Toa in the centres, Latu and Luai named to start. We've got Finu and Sucker on the edges. Not much else doing there. Tristan Hope, number 14. Jack Bird, number 17. For the Parramatta, take on the Panthers at whose home ground is it? I'm not sure at this point in time, but it's Parramatta's home ground at this point. Isaiah Yongi, fullback. Samarani plays centre. Russell at centre. Dylan Brown and Dean Hawkins in the halves. Charlie Guyman named to start. That's a good thing. Yes. For the Panthers, Origin players are not named to back up, so I love this. They are on the extended, though.
It's good that Guyman's named to start for us that own him in a way. If we can just get him to bleed a little bit more cash and somehow he might be that. I don't think he's ever going to get to enough where we can maybe he could be he's desperate last guy that we sell in our side to free up like 30K to fund that one extra guy we need. It could be. If
he was like 20K more last week, I would have been able to do the trades I want to do with ease. He wasn't.
He could come handy if he gets a little bit more. But he could be an AE nightmare too if he doesn't get too well.
The last time he played, so he scored a 55 the week before, so that'll drop out his average. Dane Laurie, fullback. Jenkins and Alamotti on the wings. McLean and Tago in the centres. Blaze Talangi and Schneider in the halves. Papali'i, Garner, Lindsay Smith, Moses Leota, Mitch Kenny, Matt Eisenhuth at lock. On the extended, 19 Cleary, 20 Edwards, 21 To'o, 22 Martin, 23 Yo. I'm waiting. I'm just going to wait and see on this one. But for me, I'm not going to touch any of these guys. I'll just let it wait a week. They're back out from Origin.
Yuck. I hate this situation.
That's so yuck.
Because I didn't really break. I've been sort of just kind of looking at which of the hookers. I thought that might have been more of my priority, just not having potentially a hooker this round. So I thought I was just sort of looking into that over the last couple of days. And then with a bit of a, bit of an idea that might want to do something at just trade one of my halfbacks to Cleary or maybe bring in a second rower or something this week as well. But with Cleary playing the second last round of the game, 4 p.m. on a Sunday, it does make it a bit awkward trading either Nico or Jerome Hughes to him, who played the first two games of the round. So that's a little Orkies, hey. And the tough part about it too is if he's, right and good to go, he's playing power, he could carve up.
Oh, you ready for me to talk?
Yeah, if you want to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're done taking selfies.
Oh, sorry, I was taking selfies for the Instagram so people know that we're recording. We're ready to go right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm like for me, they're playing Parramatta. Parramatta have done pretty good. I think there's a lot of points available, but
we can't argue it's not a good matchup. It's a good matchup. We can try sit there and go,
backing up from Origin 4 day, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 4 days later, he's not scoring 150.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't put that out there.
I'm
jinx it.
I'm okay to let him go, but I think he's a must-have next week.
Yeah, I don't know where I'm at with it yet. I think that it probably just makes it hard because I'd hate to trade one of the other blokes to him, assuming he backs up and then he doesn't, and then I'm without that position and I think that I've got someone, so that'd be sticky. So I might just have to sort of wait throughout the round and see if there's any sort of assurances like, Nath's backing up, or I don't know, something said post-game or incoming days or something like that.
There's every chance that they just rest all their players anyway. They got a pretty good run home. I did the ladder predicted the other day. They're fourth based on their run home.
Well, they did really well a couple of weeks ago without the Origin boys, so maybe they've got enough faith in them. They did that against the Warriors, who I just thought we all know, hope to be fair.
Yeah.
So maybe they do rest some or not all.
Lomax named to return for the Parramatta Eels as well. Last game, 6:15 on Sunday night, the Titans host the Broncos. AJ Brimson at fullback. Jaden Campbell named to return. Bo Fermor and Tino named to back up. Dave Fafita at number 16. This is a good time for him to... imagine him as a pod play late in the year. Jesus Christ. If he gets to his peak... and he's back to full fitness late in the year and he's dropped like 150K and he's like 600K.
Just being that elite guy going to dummy half and crashing over.
Jesus Christ.
Running off Foz, just scoring 2-3 tries every now and then.
Titans nothing to play for, just playing their whatever footy they want. Keep a trade up your sleeve for guys like this. Maybe don't go too early because it could be a disaster. But for the Broncos, Reece Walsh named, Shibasaki named to back up, Payne Haas named to back up. See, Payne Haas is under an injury cloud for Origin tomorrow. These team lists, how much can you read into them? Yeah,
when there's so many on the extended and stuff, it is hard to get a gauge. He's a bit of an animal, though, I think, Payne Haas. He backed up last one.
You know what? My gut feeling says he plays as well.
You kind of think, could they go without him in this game against the Titans? Can't some of the other boys be gritty? They were gritty last week.
Be gritty like Benny Scarf. All right, let's go back to the hot topics and Grant versus Watson. We started off with Connor Watson, highest averaging a hooker at 67 points for an 80-minute man this season. Sandon coming into the side, which concerned me, but Zach Docker-Clay will take his spot at hooker. Might be spelled minutes in the middle. His draw is St. George, Sharks, Melbourne, Manly, Dolphins, Dogs, Para, Melbourne, Souths. So it's very mixed. They've got a good week this week, but I expect this week to be the week where I'm not expecting much from him. Sharks, Melbourne, Manly, Dolphins. It's a pretty tough 4-week run.
Yeah, I mean, Sharks, it depends. You think of them as tough, but they have been a little bit off.
Yeah.
It depends whether they've fixed up their issues. Melbourne, you'd think that maybe they're starting to really click by another 3 games by now, starting to really... My idea of Melbourne is starting to picture them start to break away from the pack in quality of footy. I think that, if they can just minimise their mistakes and their errors and just work on, that high completion sort of thing, that their class will just sort of have them running away with games in the back end and being too hard for teams. So that's kind of on, back to Harry and Connor. That's why I'm a little bit keen on Harry a bit, because I think that if they do just play elite footy, and
it'll be off the back of him.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, this year with Harry, Pappenhausen had the hot hand earlier in the season. I think he's tapered off a bit. I think Munster's always going to be Munster. He'll have the hot hand and other people can still kill it. Jerome Hughes hasn't quite hit the ground running this year. He's had a few up games,
there, isn't it? Yeah.
But I think consistently, last year, he was doing it every week. Whereas this year, I think he's been a bit more up and down. I think Harry coming into this side, it's going to be his turn to kind of have his weight in the team for the last half of the season. I guess the pro versus the con with Connor versus Harry. Pros for Connor, he might play every game. There's every chance he plays every game from here on out. The cons for Harry is potentially misses this week, potentially gets rested later in the season if they are locked into a top 4 position. But I wouldn't bank on it. Their draw over the back end of the season: Knights, Manly, Roosters, Para, Broncos, Penrith, Dogs, Roosters, Penrith. They don't play Penrith twice because they've already played Penrith.
Who's that? Melbourne?
Yeah, Melbourne.
They finish on Brisbane, don't they?
Oh, sorry, Brisbane twice. They play Brisbane twice. I put Brisbane. Oh. So they play Knights, Manly, Roosters, Para, Broncos. Oh, fuck. I fucked this up completely, haven't I?
I don't know.
But their draw is pretty good. It's not awful. The Roosters.
Do you want me to read it out? I've got it here.
Yeah, go.
Yeah, okay. So the Storm for the draw is the Storm for the draw. The draw for the Storm is the Knights, Manly, Roosters, Para, Broncos, Penrith, Dogs, Roosters, Broncos. Like the last 5 games are quite particularly tough. Broncos. I imagine that the Broncos and the Roosters are going to start being kind of better too. Like, I mean, I still think of the Roosters as kind of a hardish side. You don't smash the Roosters. Like, yeah. So the last 5 rounds is Broncos, Panthers, Dogs, Roosters, Broncos, so they're all kind of tough. And but there's some other nice ones there. And he's a hooker. He's going to make tackles regardless. The attack, I don't know. Like you can never really predict where. So yeah, some teams leak more tries to middle forwards, and that can be something to look out for on those try maps and stuff like that SuperCoach Guns put out. It might be handy to look.
I think for me, Harry's a lot more appealing because I look at that Para matchup in round 22. I think I'll be needing to win a lot of the games the last week before head-to-head finals to make sure I make the 8. So I like the draw of I like his matchup against Manly. I like the Roosters matchup. And I think from 23 to 26 in head-to-head finals, he'll do a good enough job for me over Connor Watson. Yeah. Like, he might not score more at that point, but I'm looking at it from the perspective I need to get there first.
Let's just look at Connor Watson's last 5 because we sort of thought that the last 5 for Harry were a bit tough. So the last 5 for Connor Watson are...
So from 23, he has the...
Dolphins, Dogs...
Para in round 25. And then Melbourne in round 26.
And then South to finish. So the Para...
I like the Souths one to finish too. The Souths one.
It could be, that's one of those games that are usually really competitive between those two clubs regardless to how they're both going on the ladder and even who's in or out for their sides, but that doesn't mean that there's not points in them. It just means that it's usually there's a lot of passion.
Do you feel like they're both as likely to get the same amount of attacking stats for the rest of the year, but Connor Watson's just got a bit more of a floor in him?
I think that maybe Connor Watson, in my mind, just because he's not locked into just hooker, could have more potential for upside in just attack in all different ways, shapes and forms. You know what I mean? Like when he goes into a running role at lock and stuff like that. Having 2 different ways that he can sort of get his points throughout the game. Like if it's not happened for him at hooker necessarily through the middle, setting up people, there's that's a thing to be considering. But yeah, they both kind of have those games where they can just have a lot of attacking, like maybe like Harry might have those 2 try performances and then a try assist, and then Connor can have one where he's had a couple try assists and stuff. So that's I can't pick. I just can't split them. I guess one thing to factor is that one's a little bit cheaper. One's about 40K cheaper, which is Harry Grant.
Yeah,
and that might come into my factors because when we're looking at other players like the Storm, Jerome Hughes, like we're talking about buying Harry, then we're also now considering is Hughes a sell, or if you want to, for a lot of people, if they own Hughes and they own Hines, they want to get Cleary back, which one? So yeah, I'm a bit unsure which way I want to go with it. But if I wanted to get both Harry Grant and Cleary in my side in this round, I wouldn't be able to do it by selling Nico. I'd have to sell Hughes Do you know what I mean? So that sort of factor, yeah. So maybe
I don't hate that though. I don't hate it.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. Then when I even think about, I'm buying Harry at hooker, so it's a separate thing. But then buying Harry and selling Hughes, then I think, fuck, I feel way more confident about Hughes scoring more points week in, week out. But I can't play Hughes at hooker. You know what I mean? I'm picking Cleary against him, but it just feels weird doing that.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean for sure.
I don't know which way I'm going yet. But if I had to just pick now with no extra information,
well, we're not. Let's just say tomorrow goes. Let's just say Harry Grant and Connor Watson
both go through unscathingly.
Just end up not playing tomorrow night. They're both fresh.
Yeah, it's just not a factor.
Who would you choose? Oh, okay. Unscathed. Both of them play. Connor Watson plays his 20 minutes off the bench. Harry Grant plays his 80 minutes, so Connor Watson's probably more fresh to play this weekend.
I'm leaning. A part of me, just what came to my mind now is maybe Harry, only because I love wanting parts of the Storm. And if I'm going to sell Hughes, at least that's a trade-off.
Yep.
And maybe if there could be this spot where I'm more thinking I might want to do one more thing at fullback, and it's not Teddy's not going unless he gets injured. It's either Drinky or Pappy might, because they're kind of both doing well enough, but I feel like maybe I've just got a gut feeling that one of them's gonna not be the whole way, go the whole way, and someone else is going to appeal.
I've been saying that about Drinky, and
so if that for me, if is Pappy, then that's an extra guy that I've sold, and I don't want to then have only Munster in my side as my only Storm. I'd have Katoa as well, but I don't know. Yeah, I had Watson in my side at the start of the year and I really loved him, I just felt I kind of always felt safe with him, and I always felt like there was potential unknown upside. Like I just was like,
he hasn't quite hit his ceiling yet, has he? As a hooker, I think he's got 150 in him, and that's huge as a hooker.
Yeah, I think we know what to expect from Harry. And we do know there's those big, good ones there, and he's pretty consistent for the most part too. He can have some low ones too.
Usually this time of year, we look at his draw and he's probably got like we look at it and we think he could get 2 or 3 from this point out because these matchups look good. I look at his draw from the back end of the season and I'm like, I think he's got one maybe in him for the back end of the year.
Well, the thing I like about the draw factor, and when you look at Connor Watson versus Harry Grant, if you know when the Roosters go up against some of these tougher sides, they're going to be the worst side. Whereas when Harry Grant goes up against some of these tougher sides we talk about, whether it's Penrith, whether it's the Broncos, whether it's Sharks or whoever it might be, the Storm are the better side.
All right, I'm tired of this chat. Let's move on. Okay, let's. We've talked about that for ages. Payne Haas. I think we're obviously talking about a run home team. He's named to play.
Not yet. After the bye for me.
Yeah, he has a bye next week in round 20, so I think I would definitely reassess there. But averaging 57 in base this year in 60 minutes. Minutes didn't change much after Origin last year, and they haven't changed much throughout the year. But he only based 49 last year. He usually starts the season hot. And I've looked back at this, and what I've seen is not necessarily his output doesn't change for the back end of the season. He just misses a lot more games and doesn't even play less minutes. He just misses a lot more games at this back end of the season. And what I'm worried about is I purchased him last year when I was ready to get a front rower.
Different coach.
True, but Madge is pushing him even harder.
Which I think he's just not going to let up. He's fucking ruthless, man.
What do you mean? I just think he might
just give him a rest when he...
No, I don't think he's getting a rest if he's...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
If he's not injured. Yeah. But what I think is he's missed so many games at the back end of the season because of injury.
Oh, you think it's coming? The injury's coming.
It's coming, and I think he just can't keep it up all
season.
He's
kind of been playing with that already. Yeah, maybe he's getting through that, and that's just what that is now. And maybe he recovers and he's good to go. My gut says have to get him in because just even that other week that he went that 100. I know I think last week he went
against the Sharks.
Or the last game he played was like a bit of a lower one.
He's got like a 45.
Yeah, but I just think when you're comparing all the rest of those forwards, him and Terrell may stand out as the two primo. For a while, you're kind of like Colin Matungis and Aaron Clark's are on par, like if not on par, just a tick below. I think that's separated a bit now. I think that Colin Matungi and Clark aren't quite there as much as I really want to have that there in my side. Haas, I just feel like there'll be too many weeks where they're just too easy of a hundreds to have, and getting those hundreds in your side are just so. And if he does, only falls a little bit short of it, and you're taking it every time. So I definitely want him.
Yeah, I think I'm
Just timing.
going to reassess, but this injury is scaring me, and I'm leaning towards maybe passing on him and just prioritising the Harry Grants, the Nathan Clearys, the Zach Lomaxes. But he's definitely going to be the last person I get in. And if he comes out in round 20, looks fresh, then that's when I'll pull the trigger. But I'm happy to wait after round 20.
Yeah, he's got to buy. Which was isn't it?
Round 20. So so this week
can't look fresh in 20 then. If he's
no, but that's what I mean. After round 20.
Yeah,
so
21.
He plays round 21, so I'll get him around 22 if he's any good. Yeah. All right. Halfback for the run home. Hughes or Hines is the big question here. Obviously partnering with Cleary. Are we in agreement that Cleary's a must-have, especially with his draw?
I feel like he's definitely the better of the two, and I wouldn't feel good having just the second and third best. You got to have the best, I think.
Yeah.
And the others might just end up scoring better because they just do. But if you're backing them, which one do you believe, or which one's more, bankable and doing? I think it's definitely Cleary going bigger.
Nathan Cleary's draw: Para, Souths, Tigers, Titans, Knights, Melbourne, Canberra, Dogs, Dragons. I think at least 4 of these games, he's a captain option, and I'll be so scared to be death riding him, just not owning him at all. So I think he's definitely the person to partner with one of these guys. Is it Hughes or Hines? So Hughes, we've obviously talked about Hughes' draw with Knights, Manly, Roosters, Para, Broncos, Penrith, Dogs, Roosters, Broncos. And then Hines has Dolphins, Roosters, Rabbitohs, Cowboys. That's a very good next 4 weeks. Dragons, Titans, Knights, Dogs. So they've got a really good run for the run home. They do have a bye in round 25 though. So I think that's a crucial round to miss out on. That's the head-to-head semi-finals. I'm leaning towards Hines.
Yeah, it's funny because you have to buy him back then now, don't you? Because you've currently got Hughes and DCE.
Yep.
Yeah. So interesting.
So I've got like 30 guys I need to fit in 7 trades.
You decided you're done with him, and I was starting to come to think that I might be having a part with him too.
But to be fair, he hasn't played for a week, and we kind of forget how that combination's. It's very frustrating to watch. Like, I want to come out and see how they play this week. That combination with Trindle is so frustrating to watch. I think he's capped, but I think he still scores better than Hughes.
The reason I find him hard to separate is, that draw for that 4-week window that's all there is really, really soft for them. And because they've been a bit out of form, that's their real chance to really start to click it and, be the Sharks that put on points that we know. He's got that goal kicking as well that just when they are smashing aside, and he's got that just adds to his, score. And even when then he's not necessarily in it as such, some games there's, if it's going through all Trindle and he's still kicking goals, that's a bit of insurance. Whereas with Hughes, when he's just not in it, he's just not in it. There's no extra backup for the goals kind of thing. But on the flip side, if you're backing just that individual in the side that I kind of like Hughes and what he can just go really, really big and be. So, but I think I'm leaning Hines too. As a keep, I should say, make that clear.
I think I like Hines as the better option, but for my team, I've already got Hughes, so it just makes sense for me to hold Hughes because I don't think there's that much between them.
Yeah.
I if I had to bet, Hines scores more, in my opinion. But I don't think he scores that much more for me to use a trade on it. But, I think we haven't seen a massive 120-plus score from him this year, which is very concerning for me. Like, for Hines in the last 3 or 4 years, easy matchup, 120-plus is a given.
You feel confident every time watching it.
It's just very frustrating to watch. Hopefully, after this bye round, they kind of refresh.
Weird, because it doesn't look like he's playing bad. He's just it's a different kind of footy, which is just not complimenting.
I feel sorry for Nico.
To him.
I feel sorry for him because I think he's still a good player. He cops a lot of criticism, but I don't think it's his fault. I really don't think it's his fault. All right, let's head over to our Pickle of the Week, brought to you by picklebet.com.au. Use the code TURBO when signing up. They've got some Origin specials for you to take advantage of. So go onto the website, picklebet.com.au, use the code TURBO, and take advantage of what they have to offer. They had a corporate golf day for the Penrith Panthers yesterday. I don't know if you saw that on their Instagram, but they sponsor the Penrith Panthers. Got to try and get something hooked up with the Penrith Panthers through them. So keen to watch this space for sure. What is your Pickle of the Week? I think, like, for me, it's just Origin stars and Harry Grant or not. That's my only Pickle of the Week. I've got Lockie Galvin. I hate that I've bought him. He's 436K. I hate that. I'm not moving him. I'm just going to leave him there. It is what it is. But, yeah, that's my Pickle of the Week.
Yeah, What's I guess yours? my biggest two pickles would be, like, just clear, whether I want to get Cleary this week, whether it's Hughes or Hines that I sell to get them. Also, Harry Grant, and Watson feels a little bit more rushed for me not having that hooker. But as I said before, I can, if I don't feel satisfied in the one that I'm, locking in this week, then I just won't lock in either and take a 0 in that position with the flex, and hopefully it doesn't cost me too much. I think I'd rather get it right in the long run. But yeah, it is tempting to sort of try see if I can come to a decision this week. If I can get into a point in my mind where I am more confident with either Watson or Harry, that would be ideal. It just will give me a better chance to score well this week, I guess.
I think this is definitely them situations where we've got to sit back, watch Origin play out. I think we're not going to get the answers straight away. Like, we're going to watch Origin. Unless there's an injury, obviously that'll answer questions for us.
Yeah.
But I think we're just going to have to wait 24 hours out, and then whoever you pick for the run home, choose them if they play. Yeah, pull the trigger this week. And yeah, they might not score well this week after backing out from Origin, but at least they're your guy for the rest of the year. All right, let's move on to, I just want to go through some pod options that we want to target for the run home. So we're obviously looking at all these Origin guys, and your Lomaxes, your Grants, your Nathan Clearys, everyone's getting these same players in. I think we've really got to look at these kind of lower percent owned people that people aren't looking at. I've got 4 options here that it's 5 that I'm quite interested in, and I want to get your thoughts on.
Question. Would these pod options be as an alternative to some of these guns and leaving one of these guns out, or just trying to find a position or?
No, they won't be.
Okay,
because I think these guys that we're talking about, they're a slam dunk in their position.
Yeah.
I think you've got to add these guys to your team to add that extra layer to your team.
Okay, go and chuck them up and we'll see what
number 1, I've got here Dylan Edwards. He's 2.4% owned, 647,000. Parramatta, Souths, Tigers, Titans, Knights, Melbourne, Canberra, Dogs, Dragons. So they only play 2 top 8 sides for the rest of the year. So 3 top 8 sides out of their remaining 8 games, which I like a lot. Obviously, if he doesn't play this week, it's still good. He plays the Tigers, the Titans, and the Knights in a 3-game run. Heading into head-to-head finals, it does get a bit trickier with Melbourne, Canberra, Dogs, and then Dragons in the last week. I think the Dragons in the last week could be an interesting one because that'll be the last week, and it could be... It'll be situation dependent, but I think we're all thinking which third fullback are we going to have? We've got Teddy, we've got Drinky. I think the third guy is definitely up for debate, and I think he can be definitely in the conversation.
He can be, and like on a matchup like this, it could be one where he just goes really, really well as well. He's got that lowish BE, I think it was 35. When you think of his performance in his last game that he had, I mean, everyone was quite keen on him, wanting to pick him up or consider picking him up for the run home. But then you go look at his scores for the season, and they're pretty underwhelming as a fullback when you compare that to, the 3 guns that we kind of, for the most part, do have. There's not many big ones in there, and a lot of them you'd be very disappointed with. So we'll just go through it quickly. For 75, 50, 60. Don't want any of them. There's a big 134. Stoked with that. Massive. Good.
I think he's been pretty injured.
Yeah, that's a factor. So we'll get to that. And then 52, 66, 42, 54, 88. Like, they're really bad scores, there's only 2 good scores in there of that 134 and the 102. As you mentioned, has been playing a little bit hampered through the year, bit in and out as well. The draw's now getting a lot better, so you've really got to kind of disregard the scores potentially and go, all right, those scores were pretty bad. Penrith were losing games. They were dropping a lot of balls. They weren't silky in any way. They were losing for the most part. You know, now he's not injured. The draw's a lot better. The team seems to be clicking. You can expect an uptick. But when you look at those scores, I don't feel confident yet. I kind of feel like I need to see it again. And it's tough because if he does play Parramatta this week, it's an easy matchup and could carve up.
His last 2 games, 88 and 102. So you kind of got to. I wouldn't say you have to move this week because our salary cap, we should have enough cash.
You could pay 700 for him.
Yeah, you could pay 700 for a premium fullback. I think his draw just coming up is a lot better than a lot of the fullbacks going around. Like even. I think Drinkwater's got a good draw, but Tedesco's got a pretty tricky draw. But I think just because we know what we're going to get out of Tedesco, you're happy to hold on. Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, I like him too, but the scores make me a bit nervous because he does have to kind of he's got that high work rate where he's not going to have too bad of a floor. But at fullback, you can't be like, oh, well, he's got a base of 50, and if that's what you just take, some of those 50, 55, that's not good enough.
Well,
but I'm hoping that there won't be scores like that.
Yeah.
When it's that much easier matchups, the draw looks pretty good and they're playing a lot better. So
what I was going to say is his lowest score is 42. He's got a 50 and a 54. Also has a 52, but apart from that, 75, 60, 66, 134. Like, they're not amazing scores, but I feel like it's just going to open up with his injury. Hopefully he's nice and fresh.
Not sold on it yet. I like the idea of it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Reece Walsh, 5% owned. The draw is very good.
Yeah, he's one that I'm curious about too. Like, I'm not locked into any of these third ones. I don't even know if I'll do it. I might just end up just sticking with Drinky, Teddy and Pappy.
Yep. Which is fair.
And there's no way I'm doing anything there this week, you know what I mean? No way.
But Walsh, Gold Coast Titans, Parramatta, Souths in the next 3 weeks.
That's great. I mean, there's real potential there. And if you just want to take a plunge on it, especially if you don't have these 3 guys, maybe you've got someone else there. Like, I don't know who the other guy you might have. Maybe you've got a dual, you've got a centre winger in your flex still. Some people might be doing that. Maybe you've got Turbo or something that you're just willing to part with. Even though he's looking good, you might go, I'll go with Hughes or something. With Walsh, I feel a little bit more confident with him at the moment. I don't know. Not saying I think that he's going to do better. I just feel like, I don't know. I just feel like I could, with that draw, particularly right there and now. Yep. Yeah, I could go it. But I'm not going to.
Isaiah Yeo, 9% owned, 550,000.
Nah, not enough upside. Not enough upside.
No real attacking stats this year. The offloads and tackle busts have gone away, but he's averaging 40 tackles a game. I think with Penrith's position, the easy draw does worry me because he had one really low score in a 40 game where they put on a score against a side. I kind of like it though at the price.
How much is he now?
550.
Oh no, I don't want that part of it. Fair. But I started with him, and he underwhelmed for me. He didn't feel that terribly, but at the price he was, it held me back from doing other things. I could have started with Tino. If I just knew that I wasn't going to pick up Tino, I would have started with. Like, the idea for me at the start of the year was I'll get Tino after the bye, and then other things just eventuate that I'd get. So yeah, that's for me. Even at that price, I mean, if you're like just going down from someone like that's like to free up cash, like 150k or someone that's like 700k that you've got on your side, that might be, I don't know who that would be. Like to me, Tarpany's kind of gone down to, it's not too much. You're not really freeing up that much extra. They're putting out similar output. The upside's not there.
Hudson Young, 11% owned. Sorry. 11.7% owned, 749k, 115 break even. They come back in round 20. GIO Stadium 2 games in a row. Para, Newcastle. Then St. George, Manly, Penrith, Tigers, Dolphins. They've got a very good draw for the run home. They attack through their edges. I like it.
Yeah, I like it. He's pretty pricey. The fact that he has a bye too. He's a bye. When's the bye this week? Yeah, so he wouldn't have played this week. Oh, he could have if he backed up.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you get him for next week against Parrot, it's a good thing. You don't get to wait. You don't get to wait for any price drops though. That's the price you're paying.
I would pay that price.
Yeah, I'd be prepared to as well. But the thing is, there has been a bit of an injury cloud over him.
Plays Origin tonight, tomorrow night.
Yeah,
so,
see how that goes.
I assume if he's good to go, has a bye round, gets named the following week, it's not an issue.
The fact that he doesn't play this week gives him a little bit of an extra rest. It's not an extra rest really because he's still playing Origin.
I like it because I think a lot of people will be prioritising other players next week, and I think he's a very good option. And in a position that I think we've got these Aaron Clarks, Kalol Matungis who are scoring really well for us. I think he's the guy who his base is really good this season, and I think.
But then he's got those big tons in.
He's the David Fafita of the years past at this point in time, and I think he finishes the season well. All right, let's head over to our. I won't talk about trades. We've already kind of touched on that. But do you know what you're pulling the trigger on yet?
Nah.
Yeah, I don't know yet either. I think.
No idea. Like the one thing that I might go to, because I might end up bringing in Angus Crichton. I'm looking at someone like Hudson going, probably prefer him, but it's probably like about 170k less. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of just tempted to just do something like that, get Crichton in. His scores have been decent enough. I think his last two scores were 70s, and I don't think he had tries in those. So, I'm pretty keen on the idea of him too. Just the price, I think there's value there.
Yep.
I can't always be getting these top dollar guns that are at their peak value, especially when I haven't made cash work for me as well as I'd like, and I can't keep downgrading and nothing in too many spots. So that might be a thing for me if I don't end up doing something like Cleary, which I probably won't, I don't think.
Yep.
And then hooker, I'm still a bit undecided with wanting to rush on either unless I can make my mind up on one of those.
Yeah, I like it. I think for me, if Cleary gets named, I'll go DC to Cleary. Pretty happy to do that.
Yeah, with him being on the bye, you're in a really nice spot to be able to do that late and not feel...
Manly's draw is pretty tough, and I've already got Garrick, Hopewade and Turbo. I think I'm going to have to make a move maybe on one of them, depending on how things go. But I think I'm reassessing next week. So I'm going to go Cherry Evans to Cleary if he's named. Every chance I do Sandon to Harry Grant if Harry Grant is named, but I'm not too keen on getting in these Origin guys, so I'll probably just wait and see. Probably just leave it at that. Karapani is on the table to be sold, but I actually think...
Got to play him this week.
Sorry?
Got to play him this week, I reckon.
Yeah, got to play him this week for sure. I like his matchup, and I think he's got a good enough run over the next couple of weeks to hold on to nearly. It's going to be an awkward kind of period when he's ready to sell. You want a low max or something. So
might be the best guy for you to be able to get that gun, and at that point you just need to make that sacrifice, even though...
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, captains. I am completely undecided. I'm not captaining Tedesco. I think I'm VCing him. Mm-hmm. And my captain is Drinkwater at this stage.
Yeah. I don't feel confident to do Drinkwater against the Dogs. I know he's been going. He went good against...
Sorry, my captain is Drinkwater, but he's playing the Dogs, so I don't know why that was there. I'm open for interpretation. I'm hoping I do the VC loop this week. Tedesco's probably got to be the guy, to be honest.
Yeah, I've been looking at...
I like Karaz.
Yeah, I didn't even... I've got Karaz. I kind of forgot that I had Karaz. You know what I mean? I really like that too, as an after Teddy play, because I was looking at Teddy as a VC potentially as well. That you could maybe... I don't like the first game of the round. I just don't like it as a captain, whether it's Thursday night, Friday night, whatever. I just don't like the first game. But Nico against the Dolphins could be okay if you don't sell him to Cleary, or whoever, if you got him. But yeah, if I didn't go Karaz outside of that, yeah, it'd probably I think where I was factoring in was I going to bring in Cleary, and if I brought in Cleary, I probably would be confident to captain him against Para if he played.
Yeah. If he played.
If I brought him in and he played against Para, I'd be confident to play him.
Probably not. Just goal kicking. He's probably not goal kicking, so he's a bit capped.
Yeah, but I still think that I feel good about him going well.
Yeah, that's fair. I think even Jerome Hughes against Newcastle is a shout. I know Newcastle have defended well, but historically against Newcastle, he's been really good. 117 in his last outing in round 14 last year. Before that, nothing too crash hot. Averages 66 versus them. But yeah, Jerome Hughes, maybe a VC Jerome Hughes into a Captain Tedesco. I do like the Courage shout, though, against that Cowboys left edge.
Yeah, there's something about the Knights. Hey, they're pretty chopped up still at the moment. They're not that strong.
Yeah, but I'm kind of confident they don't leak 50 points.
When I just look at that at Newcastle
because their backline, they're 2-3-4-5, still the same.
Yeah.
Dom Young, Greg Marju, Bradman Best, Dan Gagai.
But maybe that, like, you don't own Pappy, but maybe because I own Pappy, maybe like that could be. Like, you don't know. Like, I'm sitting there going, maybe it could still go well, but I don't feel confident. That's where you can go, I'll chuck a VC on.
Pappy's a good shout for a VC for sure.
But then it sort of forces you to.
Do you think there's every chance he misses the goal kicking this week? Because Nick Maney kicked 5 from 5 last week.
Yes, especially if the calf's still there for sure. Yep. So
that's where I'd probably lean towards.
I'd feel less confident in him for having something on him, not having a thing than Cleary. Without kicking, I think I'm probably going closer towards the Teddy Carraz.
All right, tipping point this week. A lot of the hot talking points are Origin players. So, do you want to do tipping point now, or do you want to do it after Origin on Thursday night?
We can just do it now, I guess. We can replace him like you did last week for Thingy that was out.
Yep. So I got up 1.7. I'm at 7 and the boys are at 10. So we'll go Connor Watson and Nathan Cleary. Harry Grant. Connor Watson, Nathan Cleary, Harry Grant. We'll also go Reece Walsh against the Titans.
Who else is coming?
And then we'll also go... We'll go Zach Lomax against Penrith. I think Zach Lomax is a very good buy this week too.
Yep, sure.
All right, so let's start at Connor Watson. Let's start at 55 points. Okay. Watson, Cleary, Walsh, Lomax. Who was the other one? Harry Grant. All right, Connor Watson, 55 points. I'll go over.
Yeah, I'll go over 60.
I'll go over 65.
I'll go 68.
All right, I'll go under 68. Nathan Cleary against Parramatta.
Taking notes because you've been just giving yourself extra room last week.
I write them down and the evidence is on the podcast.
Grant had to pull you up. Yeah, but if I don't check it, that's why I'm making notes here. I don't want to have to go back to the podcast and listen.
Yeah, to be fair.
So I'm making notes.
Yeah. He's lucky you got that because I wouldn't have picked that up.
Yeah, so just for those those playing at home.
On the Instagrams, I put Jacob Preston under 80, which I had. The agreement was under 70.
He's giving him a 10-point buffer there.
That was just a mistake because the person I edited before that was 80 points, so I didn't change it.
Yeah, no. Fair play.
Watson under 68. Nathan Cleary against Parramatta Eels, 65. I'll go over.
Yeah, I'll go over 80.
I'll go under 80. Reece Walsh versus the Titans. I'll go over 85.
Over 85. I'll go over 88.
I'll go under 88. Zach Lomax. I'll go over 90.
Zach Lomax over 90. I'll go under 90.
Okay. And Harry Grant, I'll go over 80.
I'll really know. Well, do you reckon I could have pushed any more? Like if you would have started at 90, if I went to, or was your method to, I think your method might have let me go anything over and then you'd take the under.
I probably would have
That's
done
what
that,
you're going to do, yeah.
Oh, is this a new tactic brewing in the tipping point masterclass?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Just start at a total that you think, hang on a minute, this guy's confident about this. Maybe I should push him over because he's going to try and go higher. And then, bam, I
was really trying to think about different strategies driving into. But
Harry Grant, I'll go over 80.
Harry Grant over 80. I'll go... Fuck, that's a really fucking awkward place to, sorry for the swear, point to start at, man. I'll go under 80.
Sweet. I like that. So we have Watson under 68 for me, over 68 for Timmy. Cleary under 80 for me, over 80 for Timmy. Walsh under 88 for me, over 88 for Timmy. Lomax over 90 for me, under 90 for Timmy. Grant over 80 for me, under 80 for Timmy. I'm looking at that and I'm like, I'm in trouble. I think I've cooked it. Like if everything goes to if players are fit, if players are fit this week, I think you've taken another point to the board. But shout out to the listeners. Thank you for tuning in this week. Q&A for the Patreon episode will be out on Thursday. Obviously to wrap up all Origin, so I'll try and make it nice and special for you. And yeah, keep an eye on Instagram. We're doing some content with Adidas, so hopefully that's a good time. Got anything else?
No.
Thanks for tuning in.